And it's just been a lifetime endeavor. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people that think it's like hoax or a joke, and it's not. But it's taken away a lot of my credibility as far as a researcher goes, you know. And I put in more time. I put in so much time for people to just blow me off like that. It kind of sucks. But it is what it is. Skunk ape hunting ain't easy.
That's Dave Shealy. If you're one of about 10,000 people who lives in the Everglades area, you know Dave Shealy pretty well. He's got a roadside stop here on the side of the highway, right on the edge of the Everglades, called Skunk Ape Research Institute. He claims he captured a skunk ape on camera 26 years ago. Here's the footage right here. I'll let you make your own decision. This is actually in the Smithsonian Institute. Dave says Skunk Ape is still living out in the Everglades, and he does tours, he sells merch. And you're like, what's Skunk Ape? Skunk Ape's the Everglades version of Bigfoot, according to people who study it, like Dave. Of course, this is all controversial. People around here have various negative things to say about Dave. I took his tour one morning at Skunk Ape HQ. I can say he's actually a pretty likable guy. He told me various stories about drug smuggling. He has conspiracy theories about the government. He's all over the place. But he sure is tough. Just the mosquitoes alone are enough to drive a man insane.
If you've got a 5-minute story, make it 1 minute and make it a good 1 minute. All right, introduce yourself and where are we?
I'm Dave Shealy. I'm the lead researcher. Let's just start again. My name's Dave Shealy. I'm the lead researcher here at Skunk Ape Research Headquarters. It's located in the Big Cypress National Preserve, which is on the northern border of Everglades National Park. So we're right here in the center of it all. We've got over 3 million acres. This is the largest wild area east of the Mississippi, and this is where I live. My family moved here around 1890. We came down to the island of Chuckaluski to help a local store owner and doctor named McKinney to build a school. He knew that we had a little money at the time and he needed some help. So Garland Shealy moved to Chuckaluski Island, married McKinney's daughter, and we built a schoolhouse, and that's how we got here. 1893, something like that.
Somebody said that you're the Jane Goodall of the Everglades. Have you heard that?
I've heard that before, and I guess, you know, and to a certain degree, it could be true because I have spent my entire life here researching the skunk apes that exist here in the Everglades, which is a species people really don't know a lot about. I don't know if I formed the bonds with them that she did with the chimps, but I definitely know their territories, and we've got between 7 and 9 skunk apes that live here in the Everglades. And the Everglades is a broad term. Everglades is river of grass, Everglades. But the Everglades is much more than a river of grass. It's the 10,000 islands. It's the Big Cypress National Preserve, which is primarily cypress, freshwater sloughs and swamps. And to the north, there's grazing areas. Florida was, in the history of Florida, cattle was huge. The Indians had lots of cattle. And where the Everglades itself is a wet river of grass. That's a little to the east of us, but we're all connected. It's all one. I am out in the wilderness alone at night, during the day, more than anybody around here. I go into the deep woods where vehicles aren't allowed. Some of these areas haven't seen anybody in 20, 30, 40 years. I'm the first person to step foot into these areas. So when I recommend a bug spray and I tell you that it's the best, you can believe that or you can not believe me. But I'm telling you, it's the truth.
Keep going with the, I'm in the back. I've been everywhere. What's back there?
Well, and I want to say something. You know, this is the largest wild protected area east of the Mississippi, over 3 million acres. And people are telling me all the time. I just kind of said it a little bit, but I know every inch of them glades. I know every inch of the glade. Nobody knows every inch of the glades. Come on. That's not possible. I've lived here my whole life. I spend more time on foot going into these wild areas that haven't seen anybody in 30, 40 years. And there's nobody's been over every inch of these glades. If somebody tells you that, they're lying. It's not true. It's not possible. And let me tell you something else. I have found things. I have found things of such interest, such value, such importance, that I don't even talk to people about it because they'll go in and destroy it. This is the lessons that I've learned here, that once people find something, they destroy it. So I have a lot of knowledge that I typically just don't share for that reason. But I'm telling you what, it's probably, I got the Skunk Ape going on. I started World Championship alligator wrestling from Florida. I fell into one of the biggest treasure hunting operations that's occurring here in Florida right now. I'm the spokesperson for that company. I fell into all of that. My yard is a mess.
So we're going back to your place here.
Yeah.
You live way back in we're not far off the highway, but I mean, you live in the woods. Why did you choose this lifestyle, or did it choose you?
Well, I grew up here. I mean, this is really all I know. I was born in Miami. We had the property when I was born, but there was a hospital in Naples, but I was born in Miami, but I grew up here. And it wasn't a preserve then. This was before the preserve. We bought this property in 1961. My father bought it. I try to stay out of politics, but personally, I don't care for the National Park Service at all. They named it after a rogue cop, and he was killed in the line of duty by some people who were hunting egret plumes. And he had words, and there was, sex, whatever. I mean, there was sex going on. There was a lot going on. And there were a lot that went on before that. So these are the things that really get me. It's right now, they're secretly pumping herbicide out of helicopters on the interior. They're killing entire swamps. They're killing forests. They're doing it to remove exotics. It's killing everything, and they're not talking about it. We have no more grass shrimp down here in our canals. Everything that was so abundant, and this is strictly, absolutely from the overuse of herbicides. And chemical companies have found their way into the National Park Service here in the Everglades, and they are literally killing the environment. Now they've got I tell you what, the snake, the python problem in the Everglades, that was but for the grace of God for the Park Service, because it gave them an out. We don't have anything left because the snakes ate it all. Not that their first program made the Everglades so sick and killed so much wildlife that there was nothing left. The current head, and has been the head of the National Park Service here in the Everglades for the last 25 years, that has done all of this, is a native of Puerto Rico. At every meeting I've ever been to, he brags about being from Puerto Rico. I love Puerto Rico. I don't got a problem with it. But this is the Everglades. This isn't Puerto Rico. And if you go to the restroom facilities that they've built here along the main highway, people come here from around the world. You're actually taking a dump in a hole in the ground. That may be appropriate for some trailhead out west, but we're down here, we can do better than that. They have turned this place into a third world country, And all of our wildlife has been decimated, and the public has been lied to on so many levels. He's in the yard.
All right, the mic is on. I don't know what he's saying.
I'm basically
inside.
just going to slow ride around the campground and take him back up front. I told him with any luck you were naked, but
I'm waiting for you.
okay. I won't be long. And the bugs are bad. Oh, I got to set these. I sell these field guides. I sell so many of them. Probably not to you. You're a big numbers guy, but I swear I sell. Now, do you know how to find my video of the skunk ape? Because that's going to be the highlight of everything.
I found it, yes.
Okay. Did you see it running?
Yeah. So a lot of people say that was, you know, the typical, oh, it's blurry and,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh,
there's
no,
no definitive proof. But everybody on the internet says you seem like a genuine guy. You're not, you know.
I am a genuine guy. And that's the problem with the video. When you look at the video, you see an animal moving up the edge of some hammocks, which is a little higher, and then crossing the field. That field had 1.5 feet of water on it. We have brought Olympic athletes, marathon runners out there without a costume on and ask them cover that distance in that amount of time. And they cannot do it. Once you understand that the terrain that it's moving through, then the video becomes relevant. And this was before AI. This was before Photoshop. I'm just figuring out how to work my cell phone. I mean, the video is absolutely legit in its content, and it was life-changing. It wasn't the first time I saw a skunk ape, but it was life-changing to be able to film that. It was incredible. Oh, I was charged with marijuana smuggling. I was facing 65 years in prison. I was going to get the real time. You know, back in Operation Everglades, the first one was 5-10-year mandatory. But I got picked up in Peacemaker, and I was going to get 65 years. And I did some smuggling, you know, growing up here. I know everybody, so, and I've actually, when I was underage, I was caught trafficking marijuana, and I was kind of let go, and nothing was said about it. It was surprising. I don't know how that, but it did happen. It was a major chase when they caught me, and they just let me go. I don't know why. But after that, I got caught again later, and that was an actual capture, the first one. The second time, though, it was all conspiracy. I had 30 people going to testify against me. You think, well, 30 people going to testify against you? Well, you talk to the guys down here in the islands, they're like, oh, my family smuggled, and we smuggled so much weed, and there were other people involved. There were cartels also working the area. And I worked for all of them. I didn't just work for one of them. So I knew a lot. I knew a lot that was going on. And on the particular case that when I got charged, it got pretty dirty in the end. There was a bombing that took place, and they were going through everything, and I kind of got picked up in that. And they basically, you know, they say a lot of people ratted people out around here, and they asked me if I'd agree to testify and work with them. And I said, well, what does that mean? And they said, tell us who planted the bomb and you'll walk out of here. That's what that means. And I said, I'm sorry, because I did not know. I never got that attached to any of. I was like, I said, I don't know. And they said, did this particular individual hire you? That particular individual was the guy that told on me. And I said, yeah, he did. And that was the extent of my cooperation. I had absolutely no knowledge of anything. My attorney described me as being an innocent dolphin that was caught up in this huge dragnet. And it was scary. It was really scary. And what's really scary to me is that, in the end, that kind of stuff was going on. And I don't want to shed a dirty light on whatever marijuana smuggling history they want to tell over there. I want it to be good. I think there's something to it. And this had nothing to do with them. But as things unfolded, it got a little out of hand. It really did. And it was just the grace of God. I got picked up and got my life turned around and back on track. And I'm grateful, just so grateful for that. In the late 70s, early 80s, I was in school in the early 70s, and a lot of the kids I was in school with were going to school during the day and smuggling marijuana with their folks at night. That was the way it was. And it went on for a long time. And living here in the Big Cypress, we're right here with the Turner River, which was kind of a secret little river. It's always been used. And so a lot of the drugs came up the Turner River. We brought, drugs were smuggled in by airboats on the grasslands back here, dropped from airplanes. There was a lot of stuff went on, and I didn't really work for one group. I worked for all the groups. This was a storage. Sometimes I'd have $30-40 million worth of weed sitting here waiting on payments, and the way it was, I don't really like to talk about it that much. Like I said, it was just a period of life. On the job that I got arrested on. That's kind of an interesting story. I think I can tell you. Was they were like, oh, it's low key, it's only 30,000 pounds, not too many people involved. And that was before I moved my research center to the road. So when you walk in the door of the research center, if you look, there's sliding doors. It's a workshop. And that building's long. So I cleaned out the building all the way from the front door to the back. And 2 o'clock in the morning, you got people parked down here watching for cops, people parked that way. We knew every car on the road. So when there was an opening, we'd send a big motorhome out, boom, it'd go down, load up, come back. And when it came off the road, it would pull right into the front of that building and down inside. And then I'd send another one out, it'd go down, load up. And so that's that. That directly related to Skunk Ape research. And it was all marijuana. And I guess everybody knows about it now. So, you can talk about it a little bit. But definitely have had some times here, that's for sure. It was a big deal. So much weed. I remember one night I was a watchman. No, this was a bigger night. I was a watchman on 2 occasions. That's what I got charged with, being a lookout. So I'm watching, and we brought in 40 tons. That's 80,000 pounds. And it was going on all night, and I'm running my airboat, and I didn't want to run right into where it was all being stored. So I ran my airboat. I crashed it up into a swamp where a helicopter couldn't spot it, and I swam through the grass about a mile to where it all was. And I get out of the water, and I'm walking, and I see all this marijuana. It's all silhouetted. I mean, just a big pile long. And I'm walking down it, and I'm looking, and the guys are exhausted, and they're all sitting up on top of the bales of marijuana, and they're just sitting there. And one of them, and it was Panama Red, and one of them says to me, because that's when Sinsemilla had just come out, and I had a little Sinsemilla, and they wanted to smoke that Sensimilia joint because it was new, and they were sitting on top of all that red bud. And I don't smoke a lot of weed, very rarely, but the old Panama Red, that was as good as anything on the market today. That was maybe even better. Colombian Gold, Jamaican, I mean, good Lord. Some good stuff, you know, back then. A little different today, you know, with it legal.
You want to go look at skunk?
Oh yeah, you want to go see this? And that's probably going to be about it. And I
Yeah.
probably said more than I should. And whatever you do, don't shine a bad light on me. I appreciate
Yes, sir.
that. Okay.
Yeah. All right, so you're most well known for Skunk Ape research. You're the guy that first, I guess, caught Skunk Ape on camera. What year was that?
I'm going to turn around right down here. And I'll turn around and look at you. In 1973, I was 10 years old, and I was just off the back of the property with my brother. We'd heard about the skunk ape and that they were here. But that particular afternoon, we saw one. My brother saw it first. It was walking across the grasslands, a lot like the area where I took the video. He had to pick me up where I could see out over the grass, and there it was. So that was my first encounter in 1973. And it's just been a lifetime endeavor. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people that think it's like hoax or a joke, and it's not. But it's taken away a lot of my credibility as far as a researcher goes, you know. And I put in more time. I put in so much time for people to just blow me off like that. It kind of sucks. But it is what it is. Skunk ape hunting ain't easy.
What is Skunk Ape?
Skunk apes they're like the Bigfoots that people see out in the Pacific Northwest. If you were to see one at a distance, you would say, my God, I just saw Bigfoot. But I've been researching and studying them. There's a lot of differences. They have 4 toes. They don't have the 5-toe tracks like you see around the United States. And they're also avid tree climbers. They love to climb trees. A lot of the sightings are up in trees, where that's just not common with the Bigfoot. And they're a smaller animal. Skunk apes are 6.5, 7 feet tall, where Bigfoots are described as being 8 feet tall. Skunk apes, a big male might weigh 300 pounds, 350 pounds, not 900 pounds. So there's some differences. They build nests up in the trees, a lot like orangutans. The National Park Service brought in a group of experts from Indonesia. They were experts in orangutans and orangutan behavior. And they spent several years here in the Big Cypress. And they got with me and I showed them some of these structures I built. And these are much heavier materials used in them than what an orangutan would use. And orangutans move from tree to tree every night, where skunk apes tend to use these platforms that they build for extended period of times, especially near food sources. So they're not orangutans, but the park thought that what was being reported to them was orangutans, but that's not what it is.
And you said there's 6 different species out here, and they've been seen by a lot of people.
We have about 7 to 9 skunk apes that live here in the Big Cypress. There's other scattered ones throughout the state of Florida, but we have the largest concentration of skunk apes right here in the Big Cypress National Preserve, and I'm proud of that. I mentioned earlier that I spend more time out actively walking in the Everglades than anybody. I do, and I'm not bragging, I do. We have a lot of alligators here. I have tripped over alligators countless times walking in the water. We're lucky it's dry here, but I've been attacked by bull sharks while out doing my research. Those are things that most of the Bigfoot community, they don't have those things. I caught what grew to be the largest snake in the world. I caught a giant python here in the Everglades. So I run into pythons regularly. We have the cougars here. We have the black bear here. I've been bitten by rattlesnakes. I've had rattlesnake venom get into my eyes. there's a lot of hazards here if you're in the woods putting in your time. And so I'm constantly, even seasoned people who come here, I always tell them when they hike out, especially on their own, be super careful, pay attention, because things can happen. They've happened to me. I stepped on a stingray. I got the barb all the way through the bottom of my foot. I was in excruciating pain, and I made it to a high Indian mound in the forest, and I was there for 4 days with no food, no water, couldn't move. My foot was swollen. And finally, I said to myself, if I don't do something, I'm going to die. I've got to make a move. And I had about 4 miles to go, and I made it out of the woods, and I got on antibiotics, and I got the infection out of it. So, it can happen, and it happens when you least expect it.
So there's there's a skunk ape nest up here that you wanted to show me.
This is it's pretty old. It's about 2 years old now. I found it 2 years ago, so I'm sure that it's starting to fall apart. So they want to get up out of the bugs. They want to get up out of the water, dry up a little bit. And so they build these structures. That'll help. It'll knock them way back. This is good stuff. This particular structure is very near what's called a pond apple forest. A pond apple is one of their main foods that they eat in the summer months, about September. And the Everglades produces literally train loads of them, and it's a big food for the wildlife. So I got lucky and found this one close here. Watch for snakes. Turn around if you would.
How many cans of that do you go through a month?
Oh, I'm starting to worry about it. I'm doing 2 of us now, but a can will last me about 3 nights, and so I use it sparingly. Well, there's not much left of it up here now. It was much more elaborate. It's 2 years old, but right in the fork of that tree there, you can see the larger pieces of wood sticking out, and then there's some palmetto frond in there, and that just didn't fall in there naturally. I brought a guy, a tree climber, and originally this whole area stunk like a skunk. And when I found it, first I smelled it before I found it. And so I had a tree climber go up in there, and there were some fish in there. There was some birds that had been eaten, but little but slow is starting to deteriorate. You can see the strangler fig growing around it. That's like a vine. It's called a strangler fig.
We're not even deep into the Everglades. We're only, I don't know, I can hear the cars going on the highway. So these things are not afraid of coming close to where humans are.
This is an unusual location, and I was really grateful because it's relatively close by. Normally I'm out of earshot of the highways. They seem to tend to want to be away, even from the ORV trails and stuff like that. And a lot of the Everglades is off limits to motorized vehicle. Huge areas south of Highway 41 where people just don't visit anymore. 50, 60,000 acre prairies, marshes, hammocks, nobody sees. Those are the places I like to go. And that's where I find the most evidence, sign.
And the name, Skunk Ape.
Skunk Ape. Well, when Google got started, one of them people called me and they said, we're putting together this thing and we see where you're very relevant in that, and they wanted to give me credit for coming up with the name. And I said, no, it wasn't me. It's something that's been going on for generations. Some people call it the swamp ape. skunk monkey because it is kind of lanky like a monkey, so they'll call it a skunk monkey. But pretty standard is skunk ape, and that's kind of become the common word.
Do you think one day you're going to get in super close contact and create undeniable proof that these are out here by us?
As far as I'm concerned, the video is undeniable proof. And if somebody doesn't believe it, then they need to go out to where the video was taken and look at the ground conditions, and then they'll be convinced. As far as capturing, killing, that's not going to happen on my watch. I'm not going to have nothing to do with it. And video evidence is something that is no longer relevant, not even in the justice system, really. I mean, because it can be so manipulated, and with AI now, I believe video evidence is something that would absolutely mean nothing to anybody. People have seen all the videos. Cat coming out of somebody's ear. I mean, where does it end?
Are you going to be tramping out in these woods, Dave?
Well, I tell you what, I'm getting older. I'm 62 years old. I basically retired 3 years ago, but I don't think you ever really retire from this. I think it just gives you a little more freedom to pick your trails. I don't know, as long as I can walk, and I'm going to be out here. And I'm just grateful after the life that I've lived and the harsh conditions of the Everglades that I'm even alive today. I never thought I'd live to be this old. I figured I would probably live to be 35. So I've really been blessed. And with grace of God, I'll be hanging around a little while longer.
I'm not afraid of any skunk ape. If Skunk Ape wanted to sleep at my house for a few nights, I think he'd be afraid of me.
Hard work and practice, and those mosquitoes, I mean, I'm going to try to stop for 1 second so I can give people an idea on what we're dealing with out here. I am a trooper. You've been dealing with this forever, and you told me this isn't even bad yet.
No, it's not. And we have summers where everybody's like, oh, the mosquitoes are bad because of this or bad because of that. I don't know why they're bad. They're just bad. Sometimes they're not bad.
This is just torture. I don't know how you do it.
Well, I tell you, they got a name for people like me, and it's a name that has been recognized by the Corps of Army Engineers, and I am allowed some protection under that, as I am of the Gladesman culture. I am what you'd call a Gladesman. And that's a big word today, especially now that we've been federally recognized.
Okay, let's keep going. I can't even stand here.
Well, I told you before we even came in here that the bugs were going to be bad here.
I said I'll do it anyway. I'm glad we did it.
Yeah.
And we've got probably half a can split between us of spray on us, and it's still...
Yeah, but we're not sticky, and we're not hot, and we're not sweaty, and our camera's not melting, and we survived.
We survived.
That high deep stuff, to me, it'll give me a headache if I use too much. But you wouldn't believe, now I go out at night into the mangrove forest, so if you think that was bad, where I go at night, when I get back to my car, sometimes I can hardly see the car. It's like a fog. Last night it was. I opened the door and let in literally 500 or 600 mosquitoes.
Oh my God.
My arm's covered.
Yeah,
it's a wonder.
I think you've got permanent, let me show your arm. I think you've got permanent mosquito bruises.
Oh, that's where they got me when they first came out. They got me, and I hope it goes away. If I wouldn't itch it, it would already left. They got the hell out of me. I don't know. I was trying to clean a boat out, meet a deadline. I didn't put on any bug spray, and they ate me the hell up.
If you ever wanted to torture somebody, just take them to the Everglades and leave them out there at night with no bug spray, and they would just want to just die.
Absolutely.
37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46. 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 55, 56, 57. And I'm not even counting the ones on your face. That's nuts. And that's after quadruple DEET-offing yourself this morning. That's sad.
I'm tough.
So tough.
Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed that report from America. So we've been to every state now, and we know so many great places that most people don't know about. If you're trying to figure out where you should move, I can help. Email me, and I'll tell you about how I can find you the perfect place for you to move to. And if you need a realtor, I can help you with that as well. No one else knows America more than Nick and Kim and Mappy. This is my email. You can also find it in the description or on the channel. Okay, so a lot of people email me and they comment and they say, where should I move, Nick? Well, I do consulting for that, as you know, but a lot of people want to do their own research. So I have published an ebook. That's right. Email me and I'll send you my comprehensive and always updated guide on the best places to move in each state. We're always traveling, so we're always updating the book. Find the best places to live in America from the people who have seen more of America than anyone else. That's true. Google it. And don't forget to follow our main channel on YouTube. It's called Nick Johnson. We travel all over the country and show you a way of life in America that you've never seen before. We're the most traveled channel on YouTube now. You should check it out.